Acrobat. The Acrobat technique, used by Killer Bee, is a high-level taijutsu move that enhances his already unpredictable fighting style. Unlike conventional close combat techniques that rely on rigid stances, Acrobat is fluid, erratic, and built around full-body rotations. Killer Bee spins his entire body with immense torque, delivering wide, sweeping kicks and strikes that generate enough centrifugal force to break bones on impact. When paired with his chakra cloaks, or the strength granted by the Eight Tails, each rotation becomes even more devastating. The unpredictability of this movement disrupts the enemy's timing, making counters extremely difficult. Killer Bee often uses this technique in tandem with his unorthodox sword style, holding blades with his elbows, knees, and even between his neck and shoulder, creating a deadly fusion of spinning force and unpredictable slashes. The danger of Acrobat lies not only in its raw power, but also in its angle manipulation. Attacks come from unexpected directions, and once momentum builds, the user becomes a spinning weapon difficult to approach or stop. Crescent Moon. Dance of the Crescent Moon, developed and performed by Hayata Gecko, is a Kenjutsu technique that leverages misdirection through sheer speed. By executing high-speed sword movements, the user creates 3 afterimages that mirror his motions in a crescent formation. These are not shadow clones, but visual remnants caused by fast movement, which leaves the enemy struggling to identify the real attacker. The actual user hides among the afterimages, attacking simultaneously with them. This forces the opponent to defend against multiple angles, even though only one strike is real. Hayate designed this move to exploit the narrow windows in a target's defense. When used against slower or distracted opponents, it often ends the battle in a single exchange. Because the technique focuses on real-time misdirection rather than chakra-based illusions, it remains effective even against sensory-type shinobi who can see through genjutsu but not raw physical speed. Hey guys, before we continue, a huge shout out to all of you for supporting the channel. We're getting closer to 10,000 subscribers, and we couldn't have done it without you. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. It really helps bring Naruto fans together and keeps the content coming. Now, the Bringer of Darkness technique, developed by Hashirama Senju, is a genjutsu that completely robs the victim of sight. Unlike visual illusions that create false imagery, this jutsu erases all visual input, plunging the target into an absolute void. The sudden sensory deprivation forces the opponent into disorientation and fear. Even seasoned shinobi like Hiruzen Sarutobi, despite years of experience and a calm demeanor, struggled to respond under its effect. The jutsu bypasses typical genjutsu counters by attacking the user's ability to perceive rather than replacing perception with an illusion. This makes it especially effective in group battles or against highly mobile opponents who rely on vision for coordination. Once trapped in darkness, even basic reactions like blocking or dodging become impossible. Hashirama's control of this genjutsu allowed him to suppress threats without physical damage, turning it into a psychological weapon that paralyzes rather than injures. Body pathway derangement. Body pathway derangement is a medical ninjutsu developed and perfected by Kabuto Yakushi. By sending electric chakra pulses directly into the opponent's nervous system, Kabuto disrupts the brain-body communication pathways. The result is a total inversion of control. When the brain sends a signal to move the left arm, the right leg may respond instead. In severe cases, the victim's limbs may move involuntarily or act against their own will, even attacking their allies or themselves. Because the technique relies on direct contact, Kabuto often uses it after evading an enemy's guard or during a moment of vulnerability. The precision required to manipulate the neural network reveals Kabuto's mastery of human anatomy. Unlike brute force taijutsu, this technique quietly dismantles a fighter's ability to function. Within seconds, coordination breaks down, leaving the enemy unable to defend or retreat. Chidori. Chidori, developed by Kakashi Hatake, is a concentrated lightning release technique that transforms chakra into a high-speed, high-velocity thrust. The chakra is focused in the user's palm, creating a sound similar to 1,000 birds chirping, hence the name. At close range, the technique's piercing ability is powerful enough to penetrate solid rock, steel, or reinforced chakra barriers. However, the immense speed of the charge causes the user to lose peripheral vision, leading to tunnel vision. To compensate, Kakashi incorporated his Sharingan, allowing him to perceive incoming attacks and movements with enhanced precision. Sasuke Uchiha, after learning the technique from Kakashi, refined it into several variations, including Chidori Nagashi, a defensive burst of lightning, and Chidori Senbon, which turns the energy into ranged needle-like projectiles. At its core, Chidori remains an assassination move. It doesn't just injure, it bypasses armor and strikes vital points directly, delivering a lethal outcome in a single blow. Rosengon. Rosengon, created by the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze, uses no hand seals and is shaped purely through chakra control. It condenses chakra into a compact, spinning sphere that rotates in multiple directions at once. Unlike elemental-based ninjutsu, Rosengon is raw chakra given form and motion. The impact causes immense internal damage by grinding through muscle, bone, and even chakra-based defenses. It doesn't explode, it ruptures. When Naruto Uzumaki inherited the technique, he initially struggled with its formation, but eventually mastered it and developed a range of advanced forms. His wind style, Raisen Shuriken, adds elemental nature, transforming the Rasengan into a swarm of microscopic blades that attack on a cellular level. Despite its simplicity, the Rasengan's core form is still considered an A-rank jutsu due to its destructive output and difficulty to master. Blade of Wind. Blade of Wind, used by Baki from the Hidden Sand, is a wind release technique that creates cutting streams of air sharp enough to slice cleanly through solid objects. Unlike physical blades, this jutsu produces invisible projectiles made purely of wind chakra. The lack of visibility and sound during its release makes it especially dangerous in close or mid-range combat. A single wave can shear through trees, stone, or even ninja tools reinforced with chakra. Its ability to bypass visual detection means that many opponents fall victim before they can even react. The technique is not flashy, but its surgical precision and lethality mark it as one of the deadliest wind-style attacks in the series. Adamantine Chains. Adamantine sealing chains is a powerful Fuin jutsu used by Kushina Uzumaki, originating from the Uzumaki clan's unique chakra and sealing prowess. This technique allows the user to manifest chains of pure chakra from their body. These chains are not ordinary restraints. They are dense, durable, and infused with sealing properties capable of suppressing the chakra of tailed beasts. During Kushina's encounter with the Ninetales, she used these chains to immobilize Kurama, a feat that demonstrates the technique's extraordinary strength. The chains can either emerge to bind the target directly or form barriers and seals, such as the 8-trigram seal, to imprison massive forces. Their versatility extends to both offense and defense. The chains can pierce through enemies and then anchor them in place, preventing movement or chakra flow. Due to the immense chakra required and the level of control involved, only a select few Uzumaki can perform this technique effectively. Its ability to subdue beings on the level of a tailed beast elevates it to one of the most formidable sealing techniques in the shinobi world. Hugas Juanjutsu. The Hyuga main family's Juanjutsu is a cursed seal placed on the foreheads of branch family members at a young age. This seal serves as a method of absolute control, preventing rebellion and protecting the secrets of the Byakugan. When activated by a main family member, the seal releases a focused burst of chakra that targets the brain's nervous system, inducing intense pain or instant death. This neural disruption ensures loyalty through the constant threat of annihilation. Beyond the pain, the seal also destroys the Byakugan upon death, preventing its theft or misuse by enemies. While not used in open combat, its psychological impact and deadly precision define it as a potent A-rank jutsu rooted in suppression rather than destruction. Imperial Funeral Seal. The Desert Layered. Imperial Funeral Seal is one of Gaara's most devastating sand techniques, designed for total battlefield suppression. After immobilizing a target with his sand manipulation, Gaara summons multiple massive layers of sand that form into pyramid-like tombs. Each layer applies crushing force, burying and compacting the enemy deeper beneath the surface. Unlike his faster, more precise sand coffin, this jutsu prioritizes scale and absolute entrapment. The sand moves with both speed and precision, reshaping large portions of the battlefield into burial sites. When used during large-scale conflicts, it can entomb groups of enemies simultaneously, creating a landscape littered with silent tombs. Its weight and density generate enough pressure to crush even armored targets. Additionally, the sealed sand formations are difficult to escape, making it nearly impossible for the victim to counter or react. In prolonged battles, this jutsu drains stamina quickly, but offers strategic terrain control and psychological advantage through suffocation and isolation. Great Shark Bullet. Kisame Hoshigaki's Great Shark Bullet technique exemplifies chakra absorption and destructive mobility. The user creates a gigantic water shark composed of high-density chakra that surges toward the enemy with crushing force. What makes this jutsu exceptional is its ability to absorb chakra-based attacks. When an opponent counters with ninjutsu, the shark absorbs the chakra and expands in size and strength. This mechanic forces enemies to avoid direct confrontation, reducing their options mid-battle. In water-rich environments, such as lakes or rain-heavy terrain, the shark moves faster and strikes with greater impact. Kisame, known for his immense chakra pool, enhances the technique's scale, turning it into a mobile weapon of attrition. When combined with his fusion with Samihada, the shark can become nearly unstoppable in close to mid-range combat. Its sustained pressure forces opponents into a defensive position, disrupting formations and exhausting resources. Great Waterfall. Zabuza Momochi's Great Waterfall technique is a massive water-style attack that generates a towering wave vortex, crashing over everything in its path. This isn't just a wide-range flood. It's a continuous water surge that can sweep up terrain, uproot trees, and swallow defensive structures. It serves both offensive and strategic purposes, cutting off enemy lines and creating water sources for follow-up techniques. The overwhelming volume and turbulence disorient opponents while offering Zabuza full control over the battlefield. When used in misty or forested areas, the technique becomes even more effective by merging with terrain elements, reducing visibility and escape routes. Healing Resuscitation. The Healing Resuscitation regeneration technique is a high-level medical ninjutsu developed for battlefield emergencies. Used by Tsunade and advanced medical teams from Konoha, the jutsu floods a patient's body with healing chakra, forcibly restarting organs and repairing fatal injuries through accelerated cell regeneration. It operates on the edge of medical possibility, reviving those at death's door. However, the technique consumes a vast amount of chakra, often requiring multiple skilled medics to perform it in sequence. The chakra strain can lead to total exhaustion or death for the users, especially if they push beyond their physical limits. Because of its intensity, it's only used in critical situations where conventional healing is no longer effective. The technique sacrifices the safety of the medics to preserve key assets on the battlefield, such as high-ranking shinobi or jinchuriki. Its effectiveness lies in its timing and teamwork, but the personal toll makes it one of the most dangerous A-rank techniques in the medical field. Twin Snakes, Mutual Death. The Twin Snakes Mutual Death technique is a forbidden jutsu taught to Anko Mitarashi by Orochimaru. In close quarters, the user grips the enemy and activates the technique, summoning two snakes that intertwine around both individuals. Upon activation, the snakes release a deadly surge of chakra, killing both the user and the target instantly. The jutsu is built entirely on the principle of mutual destruction. There is no escape for either side. It's designed for moments of complete desperation, when defeating the enemy is worth sacrificing one's own life. The technique is rarely seen due to its irreversible nature, but it underscores the brutality of shinobi warfare. Its strategic value lies not in survival, but in removing high-priority threats from the battlefield through sheer finality. Cissoris puppet performance. Skillful achievement with a human body takes puppet mastery to a disturbing extreme. By turning a living person into a human puppet, Cissoris preserves not just their appearance, but their chakra pathways and jutsu capabilities. Through chakra threads, he manipulates the victim's body directly, using them to fight with their original skills intact. The puppet retains a naturalistic appearance, making it hard for enemies to realize they're facing a reanimated body rather than a normal ninja. This technique not only extends Cissoris' arsenal, but also breaks moral boundaries by stripping victims of their will and reducing them to tools. When used against elite shinobi, it allows Cissoris to weaponize their talents against their own comrades, introducing psychological warfare into physical combat. Reverse Lotus. The Reverse Lotus is an advanced taijutsu technique performed by Might Guy after opening multiple of the 8 inner gates. Building upon the foundation of the front lotus, this technique removes the body's natural chakra limiters, drastically boosting the user's speed, strength, and reflexes. Once the gates are opened, Guy launches the opponent into the air and delivers a sequence of high-velocity strikes, slamming the target repeatedly with precision and overwhelming force. The sheer intensity of each hit can break bones and rupture internal organs, even through defensive jutsu or chakra armor. However, the cost is severe. The user's muscles tear under the stress, bones may fracture, and movement becomes increasingly limited after execution. The Reverse Lotus is not designed for sustained combat. It's a burst-type technique meant to end a fight instantly, particularly against enemies who are too strong or fast for conventional taijutsu. Its high risk and devastating damage make it a pinnacle A-rank move for close-quarters specialists. Quintuple Rashimon. The summoning. Quintuple Rashimon is a defensive summoning technique used by Orochimaru. Upon activation, 5 gigantic demonic gates rise in succession, forming a multi-layered barrier between the user and incoming attacks. Each gate is imbued with reinforced chakra and designed to withstand enormous force. When stacked together, they create a defense capable of blocking attacks from tailed beasts, including full-scale Bijudama blasts. The jutsu's effectiveness lies in its layering. The more gates summoned, the greater the absorption and dispersion of force. Unlike typical barriers that rely on chakra walls or elemental resistance, Rashimon uses solid physical gates infused with summoning chakra, making it extremely difficult to bypass with sheer power. While it takes a brief moment to summon all 5 gates, The payoff is massive in situations where survival depends on nullifying catastrophic attacks. As a battlefield tool, it allows the user to stall or completely negate enemy momentum, especially during large-scale clashes or ambush scenarios. Paper of God. The Paper Person of God. Technique is Conan's most calculated and destructive jutsu. By preparing 600 billion paper bombs and embedding them into an entire landscape, she transforms the battlefield into a trap engineered for a single target, Obito Uchiha. Once activated, the paper bombs detonate in an uninterrupted cycle for 10 full minutes, an overwhelming duration in combat. This jutsu isn't just an explosion, it's a sustained assault that removes all escape options. Each explosion is precisely timed to eliminate any chance of survival, even accounting for Obito's Kamui intangibility. Conan calculated the exact time limit of his ability and extended the attack beyond it, showing a rare level of tactical precision. The technique required years of preparation, including environmental alteration and chakra manipulation to control each paper fragment. Though ultimately countered by Kamui's space-time jutsu, the scale and intent behind the Paper Person of God technique elevate it to one of the most dangerous A-rank techniques ever shown. Lariat. Lightning Release. Lariat is Killer Bee's signature offensive technique, combining lightning chakra with the raw physical force of the Eight Tails. By cloaking himself in a chakra shroud and accelerating to high speed, Bee tackles his opponent with full body momentum. The strike generates enough kinetic and piercing power to sever limbs or decapitate targets outright. Its execution is so fast that few shinobi can track it, let alone react in time. When coordinated with another user, like his brother A, the fourth Raikage, the attack becomes a dual lariat, amplifying the devastation. This technique requires precise chakra control and synchronization with a tailed beast, demonstrating Bee's mastery over his bijou. The lariat is not only a symbol of brute strength, but also the seamless integration of Jinchuriki power and traditional taijutsu. 4 Red Yang. The 4 Red Yang formation stands at the pinnacle of ceiling and defensive barrier ninjutsu, activated jointly by 4 cage-level shinobi: Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, and Minato. It erects an enormous cube-shaped barrier that is virtually impenetrable. The jutsu's primary function is containment, used effectively to trap the 10 tails during the 4th Great Ninja War. Each wall of the formation is reinforced with high-level chakra and connected through a sealing formula maintained by the users. The barrier resists both physical and chakra-based assaults from even bijou-class entities, making it a rare example of true battlefield control. Its scale and strength require immense chakra from each participant, limiting its use to elite-level teams in critical scenarios. Thanks for watching till the end. See ya!